Hello, and you're very welcome to the Man United Agenda Lunchtime News Update. Well, hello everyone, and you're very welcome to this lunchtime update. I hope you're enjoying your lunch break. We had breaking news in the last number of minutes. Ralph Rangnick is to add Chris Armas to his Manchester United coaching staff, The Athletic reports. Ralph Rangnick had been confirmed as interim manager last week and has already taken his first game and has been working with the existing coaching staff at the club, barring Michael Carrick, who left on Thursday. Mike Phelan and Kieran McKenna remain after Ole Gunnar Solskjaer exit. The German and his team oversaw a 1-0 victory over Crystal Palace in this first game in charge. But Rangnick will now bring in a coach of his own choice. Armas' arrival should be announced in the coming days. The American has previously managed New York Red Bulls and Toronto FC after a playing career with Long Island Rough Raiders in LA Galaxy and Chicago Fire. Rangnick has previously discussed bringing in his own coaches in the last week and said, "I will obviously try to find 1, 2, maybe 3 people who can join us in the next 1 or 2 weeks, but this is not easy with the Brexit regulation. Many of my former colleagues, no matter if it's a video analyst or assistant coach, are in long-term contract with big clubs and are not available right now. We have to be smart and clever and find the right people. I hope to get them in here in the next 1 or 2 weeks, but I cannot give you names." Who is Armas? A midfielder in his MLS days, Armas featured in 264 matches for the LA Galaxy and Chicago Fire. He has also earned 66 caps for the US men's international team. In July 2018, Armas was promoted to head coach of the New York Red Bulls after former manager Jesse Marsa departed to join RB Leipzig and as an assistant. Marsa eventually ended up as head coach of the Bundesliga side until he was sacked last Sunday. Of course, there's also speculation that he may be another target on Rangnick's list for his coaching ticket. Armas was dismissed after 2 years in charge of the club, eventually joining Toronto FC, but he was sacked less than 6 months after his appointment following a 7-1 defeat by DC United. What is his relationship with Armas? Armas and Rangnick previously worked together at the New York Red Bulls. Rangnick was head of sport and development for all Red Bull clubs in New York and Brazil, while Armas was head coach. So very, very exciting news in terms of the coaching ticket. I just want to say a big hello to Craig, Devils United, Red Devils TV, who are in the chat. We also, of course, have some other stories in the newspaper, but before I go on to those, I would just like to say that we are getting very, very close to that 1,000 subscribers, at which point we will be giving away that signed Bruno Fernandes jersey to one of our lucky subscribers. So make sure you hit that like button, hit that notification bell, and you will be in with a chance to win that jersey. We also have numerous reports in the Manchester Evening News, which I will bring to you now. So the first one is surrounding the immediate impact of Ralph Rangnick on Harry Maguire following his recent struggles. This is reported by the Irish Mirror. Ralph Rangnick has only been at Manchester United a few days, yet the fingerprints were all over the Red Devils' win against Crystal Palace. Despite the slender margin of victory, Paddy Vieira's side struggled to cope with United's aggressive intensity and assertive passing, something that obviously Ralph articulated very much in his opening press conference. I just want to bring up a few comments here. Big up, you stole the victory. Well, Mr. Nigerian Englishman, I wouldn't say stole. When you take down Fred in the box, unfortunately for you, you're going to give away a penalty. But United regained possession in Eagles' third of the pitch a staggering 12 times. So this is something that was very, very much clear impact of Rangnick's philosophy in Manchester United. So that is the first story. Now, there's also a story from Liverpool that I'm going to bring you. Liverpool legend predicts problems for Manchester United over the Ralph Rangnick appointment. Sir Kenny Dalglish believes Manchester United could have a problem or two on their hands at the end of the season with Ralph Rangnick. The German will be in place as interim manager at Old Trafford until the end of the season before moving on to a consultancy role. Having signed a 6-month deal to serve as interim boss, Rangnick will enter a 2-year contract to move upstairs at the end of the current campaign, as United look for a permanent successor, with Mauricio Pochettino still the favourite to take over. Rangnick got off to the perfect start at his game in Crystal Palace. However, Mr. Dalglish said in his column in the Sunday Business Post, if Ralph is a success, would it really be wise to let him leave the head coach role in the summer to become a football consultant at the club for the next 2 years? Very interesting thoughts there from Kenny Dalglish, and it is something that Ralph himself has alluded to in his press conferences, that he has previously made recommendations to the board to retain him in his previous role at Red Bull Leipzig as on-field coach. So would it be a surprise if he did it at Manchester United? Probably not, but it is definitely an interesting point of view. Now, the next story comes from Liverpool.com of all places. Manchester United could replicate Liverpool transfer trick to give Jurgen Klopp a new headache. Manchester United appointment of Ralph Rangnick has, as interim coach, later consultant, tries to encroach on Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp's transfer territory. The new Manchester United boss, Ralph Rangnick, has identified transfer targets for January, according to reports. The German has taken over as interim boss at the Red Devils after the sacking of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer last month. Rangnick was close to taking over at Milan, but also rejected the chance to take over at Chelsea. Now has been installed as the man to secure Champions League football for Manchester United this season. And according to the Mirror, he intends to use contacts at the Bundesliga and specifically at his old side, RB Leipzig, to improve his current team. It is believed that Manchester United will give Rangnick money to spend in January, and Amadou Hadera and Christian Entekiu have been identified as two potential targets for the winter window by Rangnick, who both currently play for Leipzig. United's midfield has been thought of as inadequate for a club of its stature, and Rangnick has reportedly already set about trying to change this. Entekiu has impressed in the Bundesliga after struggling somewhat at Paris Saint-Germain, transforming into an almost Robbie Firmino-esque forward. Hadera, meanwhile, has worked his way through the Red Bull organisation. He started at RB Salzburg, playing in the Austrian top flight for 2 seasons before making the switch to Leipzig in the summer of 2019. Rangnick knows the system at RB intimately, having overseen it for 8 years. Uniquely, he was in charge of both Salzburg and Leipzig's footballing operations through most of the 2010s. He now plans to take full advantage of this position. Rangnick's presence at Manchester United will pose a transfer threat to Liverpool, who have often identified players from the Red Bull market in the past. Naby Keita, who was signed from Leipzig in the summer of 18, Takamuna Minamino, who was signed from Salzburg. The FSG model of buying younger, lesser-known talent with potential to grow is straight out of the Rangnick playbook, and now his arrival at United means that week 2 could employ the same philosophy. Let me know in the comments what you think of that. Big up Reese. He says, if Ralph stayed in this year, he has no issue with it whatsoever because he trusts Ralph implicitly. Venishu, welcome to the stream. Do you think he will go for a DM or sign a player like Hadera? At the moment, it looks like he seems to be targeting Hadera. Reese again. Hadera generally, and hopefully Adiyama in the summer and an RB signing. Okay. So there's definitely a case for optimism, and the next story I have for you is regarding the perfect pair for the new Manchester United formation. This is a story from the Mirror. Ralph Rangnick played Fred and Scott McTominay in his new 4-2-2-2 formation on Sunday and was full of praise for the pair after Manchester United's 1-0 win. Rangnick reckons Fred and Scott McTominay are perfect for the 4-2-2 formation that he utilised. Midfielders whom struggled under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at times and had mixed results. A section of the United fan base didn't approve of Solskjaer's reliance on the pair to protect the Red Devil defence and backed plans to sign a holding midfielder with Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips believed to be the targets at the time. But Rangnick played the duo in his new 4-2-2 formation on Sunday, with Fred even getting on the score sheet, and was full of praise for the pair after the match, labelling them almost perfect. Rangnick said, if you play the way we played today with regard to intensity, with regard to being on the front foot, playing proactively and having 4 offensive players ahead of Scotty and Fred, with Jane, Bruno, Cristiano and Marcus, it is highly important to have players who are very disciplined, proactively, aggressively on the ball. Scotty and Fred were almost perfect defensively. On that, there were 1 or 2 or 3 mistakes in the first half, 2 square passes, 1 from Scott, 1 from Fred. He does not like those kind of balls in midfield from those positions. Overall, he said that the other team in possession of the ball, Fred and Scott, were almost perfect. Fred and McTominay weren't the only players who caught Rangnick's eyes in the win over Palace. Cristiano Ronaldo, whose future looked a little uncertain ahead of Rangnick's official takeover, also pressed the noob off with his movement off the ball. He is very happy with the way the team performed, especially in the first half hour with the pressing. It was exceptional. So the only thing that was missing was 1 or 2-0. The way we defended, we had control of the whole game. The clean sheet was the most important part. We need to keep clean sheets. We had just 1 training session. I was reading press and we did much better than expected. We have always tried to be on the front foot. We were never, not apart from maybe the last 5 minutes, at all other times we were trying to keep them away from our goal. We wanted to play with 2 strikers, especially in the central position. By the way Cristiano's work off the ball, chapeau. And speaking of Cristiano Ronaldo, this brings me to the next story from The Athletic. Just a quick look at the comments. Reese says we need to sign a right back regardless for now of how we play. I think AWB will struggle down the line, to be honest. Yes, Reese, that is a very, very valid point. It was something that on Monday and Mr. B mentioned yesterday. While we seem to be favouring Dalot at the moment, in the longer stretch, if we have to rotate that position, it seems that Aaron Wan-Bissaka could in fact struggle with the more attacking role that he would be expected to play. But it is foolish to underestimate Cristiano Ronaldo, writes Daniel Taylor. It was an hour or so after the full-time whistle when Ralph Rangnick pulled up to his seat to talk about what he liked about the first afternoon in the dugout at Old Trafford. What he said made it easier to understand why the first player Rangnick approached after the 1-0 defeat of Crystal Palace was the one wearing the Manchester United number 7, Mr. Cristiano Ronaldo himself. Cristiano Ronaldo might not have looked fully satisfied. It is, however, the fact that he is fully satisfied with Cristiano Ronaldo. Old Trafford once again felt like a happy place, and Ronaldo has demonstrated why it was always premature to think that he and the new manager might not hit it off straight away. Rangnick talked about the intensity and work rate of his players, and at times he shook his head in admiration. By the way, he volunteered Cristiano Ronaldo's work rate off the ball, chapeau. Again, a line that was picked up in another story. The story goes on to praise Cristiano Ronaldo and his efforts. If you do want to read the full extent of that story, it is contained within The Athletic. But those have been the stories in the papers today. I want to thank you all for joining me, and I hope you have a great and enjoyable lunchtime. I have been Rebel. This has been the Manchester United Agenda, and make sure you do hit that like, share, and subscribe button. We are rapidly approaching the road to 1,000 subscribers, and we will be giving away that Bruno Fernandes jersey very, very shortly. Thank you, and have a great evening.